A freezing morning in Norway during the late 1970s. People move through the streets half asleep, heading to work as snow drifts through the cold air. Outside a bank, customers wait patiently while employees unlock the doors. Everything feels ordinary, but nearby, a man is watching. Calm, well-dressed, completely unnoticed. Within minutes, the building will fall into panic, and the man responsible will later become known as Norway's greatest bank robber. What made Martin Pedersen so terrifying was not violence. It was how normal he seemed. He was educated, a former teacher, a husband and father living a quiet family life. But behind that ordinary image was something else entirely. Hidden rooms, carefully planned disguises, fake identities, and robberies prepared down to the smallest detail. For years, Martin Pedersen lived two completely different lives, and almost nobody suspected a thing. Martin grew up in Tønsberg in a wealthy and stable family. Unlike many criminals, his childhood was not shaped by poverty or violence. He was intelligent, creative, and charismatic. By all appearances, his future looked predictable. But Martin was drawn to risk. He loved control. He loved deception. And more than anything, he loved the feeling of escaping unnoticed. That obsession began with something surprisingly small. One evening at a party, Martin slipped away while everyone else was distracted. Nearby stood a villa containing an expensive painting. He entered quietly, took the painting, and disappeared without being seen. The theft itself was not life-changing. The feeling was. From that moment on, the crimes became larger, bolder, and far more dangerous. As the years passed, people around Martin started noticing something strange. He always seemed to have money, expensive clothes, trips abroad, a lifestyle that did not quite match his ordinary job. So Martin created a believable explanation. He claimed to be an art dealer, and people believed him. He spoke confidently, dressed well, and knew exactly how to present himself. Nothing about him resembled the image of a bank robber. Meanwhile, his secret life became increasingly sophisticated. Inside his own home, Martin built a hidden room where he stored disguises, costumes, fake identities, and robbery equipment. To neighbors and family, he appeared completely ordinary. But behind closed doors, he was preparing for crimes that would soon fascinate the entire country. Martin Pedersen did not rob banks impulsively. He studied them. Escape routes were memorized in advance. Cars were switched repeatedly. Every movement was rehearsed beforehand. And perhaps his greatest weapon was his ability to transform himself. One day he appeared as a doctor, another day as a jogger, sometimes even disguised as a woman. The police often had no clear description of the man they were hunting. As the robberies continued, newspapers across Norway became obsessed with the mysterious criminal constantly slipping away from authorities. But one escape turned him into a legend. After a robbery, police quickly established roadblocks and stopped vehicles across the area. At the same time, Martin sat inside a taxi carrying stolen money. As the car approached the checkpoint, the situation became critical. If officers searched him, everything was over. The taxi stopped. Police moved closer. Then Martin made a decision in seconds. He completely changed his behavior, pretending to be mentally challenged. His posture changed. His voice changed. Even the way he looked at the officers changed instantly. The police glanced into the vehicle, then waved the taxi forward. And unbelievably, it worked. Once again, Martin Pedersen vanished. Stories like this only deepened the mystery surrounding him. Who exactly was this man capable of fooling both banks and police again and again? Then came the robbery that pushed everything to another level. The National Bank, one of the most secure financial institutions in Norway. The risks were enormous, but Martin believed he could outsmart the system one more time. The robbery was planned with extreme precision, and when the moment finally arrived, events unfolded rapidly. Employees panicked as the situation became clear. Voices rose. Fear spread through the building. But Martin remained calm, controlled, almost emotionless, like an actor performing a rehearsed scene. And just like before, he disappeared. But this time, there was a problem. The stolen banknotes could be traced through their serial numbers. For the first time in years, Martin found himself trapped by something he could not fully control. Desperate to clean the money, he traveled to Switzerland and attempted to exchange the Norwegian currency into foreign cash. But authorities had already become suspicious. After years of robberies, disguises, and narrow escapes, Martin Pedersen was finally arrested in Switzerland. The man who had fooled Norway for so long had finally run out of luck. When news of the arrest became public, many people struggled to believe it. Not because he had been caught, but because of who he was. A teacher, a husband, a father. A man living an ordinary family life while secretly becoming Norway's most infamous bank robber. In 1982, Martin Pedersen was sentenced to prison. Yet even after his downfall, fascination with his story never disappeared. Some viewed him as a criminal mastermind. Others saw him as a dangerous man who traumatized innocent people. Perhaps both are true, because Martin Pedersen's story is about far more than robbery. It is a story about identity, deception, and the terrifying ability to hide in plain sight. For years, he lived between two worlds. And until the very end, almost nobody realized who he really was.